Hello again, everyone. Edwin Warrior back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about Mars square or opposition Chiron in a natal chart. Now, some of you may remember when I first started my YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the aspects in the natal chart. They're a little bit concise, and some people may refer to them as snappy. So what I decided to do is make another series on them, in which the videos would be a little bit longer and more descriptive. So anyway, first thing up is if you have Mars square or opposite Chiron in your natal chart, there may be difficulty finding the energy and vitality, which is Mars, to help and heal others, which is Chiron. Now, let's say, if Chiron is in Pisces, as an example, a lot of healing may be done, in matters of the self-undoing or helping others deal with secret sorrows or matters with deception, duplicity, being gullible, overly impressionable, as some examples. And also to, arguments and disputes, which is Mars, with healers, which is Chiron, may often be more acrimonious as opposed to constructive. So if, let's say, if Mars is in Scorpio, as an example, arguments may be over, it could be over some kind of will, or it could be support, shared resources situation. It may be, arguments that may be more intense and passionate, as some examples. And another thing, too, about Mars square or opposite Chiron in a natal chart is that there may be difficulty in terms of standing up and fighting, which is Mars, for those people, the healers, which I just mentioned. And the thing is, it could be, if Mars, is in Sagittarius, standing up and fighting for those people at times, when you may do, though, it could be, with more enthusiasm and exuberance. It could be over issues pertaining to philosophies or beliefs or something connected. It could be over religious views, even sports issues in some cases. Now, there also may be those people, the Chiron, the healers, which is Chiron, may have trouble, seeing your bravery and courage, which is Mars. Now, if Mars is in the zodiac sign Cancer, as an example, and bravery and courage may be directed, for home and family members, Mars and Cancer can be a strong, home and family defender. I would know something about it, having Mars and Cancer in my natal chart. And the thing, too, is there also may be trouble in terms of finding that drive and motivation, which is Mars, in dealing with the deepest wound, which is Chiron. If Chiron is in Capricorn, as an example, that deepest wound may be tied in with issues attaining career ambitions and greater social stature in life. It could be, there may have been some government-related issue, or maybe it was something that caused, more despondency, than most others. And the thing is, too, there also may be, difficulty in terms of healing, which is Chiron. If there's any, physical-related issues with the head, the skull, the face, the muscles, or sexual organs, which is Mars. Now, let's say if Mars is in Aquarius, as an example, those issues may be more intermittent, sporadic, erratic. They may be nerve-related in some cases. Mars in Gemini can be mercurial issues, but Mars in Aries may be more very quick, sharp, spontaneous, kind of, pain. It could be, too, and also, physical-related issues, which is in injuries, which is Mars, may cause more emotional suffering and anguish, which is Chiron, than most people. or maybe it exacerbates, those issues, that already exist. Let's say, if Chiron is in Libra as an example, there may be, emotional suffering and anguish that's tied in with relationships or marriage or the significant other. It may be issues in terms of trying to find, some kind of peace, reconciliation, harmony, and balance, in one's life. If Mars is in Taurus as another example, there may be some kind of emotional suffering and anguish that are tied in with the self-worth, self-esteem, money, one's values, ability to be, show persistence, in matters, as some examples. And another thing about Mars square or opposite Chiron in the natal chart may also be, an arduous task in finding that enthusiasm, which is Mars for it could be astrology, and helping and healing others, which is Chiron. Now, the thing is, if Chiron is in Pisces as an example, helping and healing others, you maybe do a lot of that for the less fortunate, including the homeless, the impoverished, the oppressed, and the hungry as some examples. And if you're doing anything with astrology, there may be more of a spiritual element or aspect connected with it if Chiron is in Pisces. And the thing about, this too is Mars square or opposite Chiron in the natal chart may also manifest where it could be difficulty for you to teach and mentor, which is Chiron, Mars-related people, if you're, which can include a number of people, including sexual partners, leaders, surgeons, people that are involved in sports, athletics, and law enforcement as some examples. And the thing is that it could be for various reasons, whether they don't want to listen to you, or whether you don't have the time to do this. There may be some desire to teach and mentor people, those people, but whether it's time restraints or for various reasons, it may be hard. And another thing is, let's say, for example, if Chiron is in Aquarius, you may be teaching and mentoring. If you're doing that, it may be in matters with computers or electronics or astrology, astronomy, aviation, meteorology, even new technology in some cases. And also to sexual partners and leaders, which is Mars, may not be overly beneficial in matters that are associated with depleted self-esteem, which is Chiron. Now, let's say if Chiron is in Gemini, as an example, there may be issues with depleted self-esteem that are connected with cerebral or intellectual ability. It may be, issues with expressing versatility or diversifying, or things that involve the hands, like manual dexterity, such as auto or refrigeration mechanics, as some examples. And also too, issues with leaders. If there's any issues, like say with leadership ability, courage and enterprise, which is Mars, may worsen or exacerbate diminished self-worth, which is Chiron. Now, the thing is, now let's say, if Mars, is in Capricorn as an example, there may be a desire to show some kind of leadership and prowess and ability at one's career or place of business, but there may be difficulties in doing so and may actually worsen or exacerbate some kind of diminished self-worth, again, which is Chiron. Now, the thing too is, keep in mind, if you have Chiron, retrograde in your natal chart, suffering you may be enduring may be more internalized and suppressed, and there may be more of an emphasis on self-healing, in contrast to Chiron being direct in the natal chart. If Chiron is in Leo as an example, There may be, suffering you may be dealing with more internally, and it may be tied in with issues of not being lauded and praised or getting the accolades and recognition for achievements. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Leonard saying stay right.